Welcome to Devoted to a Soldier Resource Panel. And it has been a long time since Joyce has gotten to join us, but she is here today. And I am so thankful and blessed to have my partner in crime with me. And our guest today, I'm really excited because we have a veteran and we have active duty, and the theme is creativity. And they use probably the same side of the brain, but two different ways of it coming out. So we have Jeremy and Jeff with us today. And thank you guys for joining us.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
And so I'm going to let them introduce themselves because I believe that nobody can introduce somebody better than themselves. We're going to start at the top. I don't know if it looks this way to you, but Jeff, you're at my top. I like to be, clockwise.
Yeah, thanks, Danny. So active duty Marine, military author, military writer. I've been doing that for the last few years. I just kind of that's kind of my thing right now in life. It's just, I like to write. I like to tell stories, and that's kind of what's driving whatever future I have. It's just creative writing and allowing other veterans to share their stories as well.
I love that. And I got to go at some point today. Someone remind me. I want to talk about your book. I haven't finished it all, but I was telling Joyce about it. So I have a couple comments on that, or questions rather, not comments. And right, Jeremy, yeah, right. Get ready. Jeremy, who is Mr. Jeremy?
I was active Army, prior service, 03 to 09. Did 2 tours, and I've been out for over 10 years now, and it feels surreal. And currently, my full-time job is a building manager at Randolph Air Base, and on the side, I've been doing a small business called Twisted Oaks Flag Company, and I've been for the past 4 years making some pretty incredible American and Texas flags.
Yeah, that is what caught my eye with you. I think it was Mark Green. You did something with Mark Green, who I know. And I was like, those are some badass, I always wanted a custom flag, but I'm not a country kind of style person. We're very raw and rigid in my household. I don't know what that says about us, but it's very...
Well, that's a style now that's coming around. Industrial, strong metal-looking pieces that aren't so soft-spoken.
Oh.
Rugged is my definite specialty.
There we go, rugged. That's what caught my attention. But I have this question because this is why I'm so excited about this panel, because we still have active, which has, I believe, call me wrong, but just from meeting people, active duty, veteran duty have this same mind, but it's quite different. Something gets turned on and off, I think. At least that's my perception of it. So what you've learned in your military career, how do you see that translating into this creative side? So Jeff, you have this, you're more the writing, the books, the speaking, and Jeremy, you're hands-on creating. How did your military skill, or does it have anything to even do with that?
I mean,
I'll let you go first on that one.
I think the military aspect for me anyway, it provides the backdrop, and I know I kind of see what you're saying, because it took me a long time. I'm at 16 years now, and for the first 12 years, it's like you're kind of scared to not focus on the mission and pursue a second passion, So for me, my whole thing is I love stories. It's not even just military and veteran related. I want to take just incredible stories, whether it's about a deployment or something you've done in your past, or even just, down the road, we have a farm that's underwater from a dam that was built years ago. So those stories to me, I don't know. I think it provides a backdrop, and it kind of shapes you for the future. But when you get to Jeremy's phase, hopefully you spend a lot more time on your passion instead of focusing just on the mission, because that's kind of the hard part now. Is not, you don't want to you don't want to disappoint or not fulfill your obligation by doing your own thing,
Oh, finding that balance of being okay with it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's tricky.
Which I've noticed lately, a lot more active duty people have started to go that creative route and start their own companies and not wait until, the infamous DD 214,
Yeah. So it's like they've gotten a silent, okay, this is acceptable.
Yeah.
To do. Maybe that's a societal thing.
What's that?
I said maybe it's like a societal thing. Maybe society's becoming more open.
Yeah.
So it's allowing you as still active to become more open.
Well, the resources are also becoming so available and free, and everybody's helping one another as well. Like Jeff was saying, a lot of active duty members are starting their own thing on the side while on active duty. And I wish back in 03 to 09, I even had that option or even thought about that, because a lot of people weren't doing it back in those days. You never heard of that. Was unspeakable. It's all about duty first, and anything else you do on the side, that is on the side, and we don't care about it. We don't endorse it. So it was far few in between. You heard of anybody on active duty doing something like writing a book or starting a t-shirt company or a flag company, whichever you say.
So do you think that the military, the commander, whatever that looks like up here, the higher powers that be, are seeing you guys as more human beings instead of not?
I think it's, at least in my mindset, would be, I don't think we didn't know, like someone took that first step and then others started to follow. And my biggest supporters have been my commanders, have been the higher echelon of it. So, I don't think that we're quite there yet. I mean, I'd hate to talk about another flag company, but I just got a flag from another company before the panel even started,
Yeah, I know.
And talking to him, like, he still is like, I don't know if I want to take it to the next level yet, because he's still active duty. So, I mean, there's still some fear out there of, how much can I put out? How much can I devote to this without repercussions? But
right.
I don't know if it's the higher echelon seeing us more as human beings, or more, there's just, I don't know, maybe in the past there just wasn't, I'm sure it happened, it just wasn't as.
Well, yeah, Jeremy was saying how it wasn't, what a difference, right? Looking back, Jeremy. So now you can hear Jeff talking about what it's like now. He's still, and he has a side. And you mentioned that you wish you knew about it. What do you see is the difference between listening to him and before? And then maybe how did you start? Because you weren't doing it then,
No. I loved always working with my hands, and I always painted and drew pictures of cars and stuff like that, and Marvel characters. But that was just something I dabbled on the side, and I didn't really even publicize that. I didn't share it on social media or anything. And social media, I was barely on Facebook before I got out. And so, but now, I'm sorry if you hear my kids in the background over here.
Yeah, twins.
I love hearing your kids.
Yeah, and they're going crazy right now. So
bring them on. Bring them on.
If I do, there's going to be 20 minutes of constant kids. But anyways, I'm glad that Jeff is able to do this while he's on active duty. I'm envious, and I'm proud that a lot of people like Jeff are taking advantage of these opportunities now and not waiting till they retire or waiting till they get out. I didn't necessarily wait till I got out to start something. I just wasn't exposed to that resource element or anybody else really doing this in my time. And that was barely 10 years ago. So a lot has changed since then, but I've only started making flags 4 years ago. And that's because I got into woodwork 5 years ago.
Yeah. Isn't that a difference? Man, how things can change like that. 10 years is a really short period of time when you think how fast life goes. One of a good friend of ours, another veteran out there, Brian, he said a little more tolerance for sidebar activities due to retention.
Yeah.
Didn't think about that either. So that was a good point. But your little munchkins, Jeremy, remind me of like, how has your family molded what you're doing? And then you have that balance. Because Jeff, you had a big impact with, was it your son? I don't want to misspeak.
Yeah, with Carter. Yeah.
Was that a huge like eye-opener, aha moment where you're like, I've got to find this balance between what I'm loving and my duty and my family? What was that impact of your family like?
Pretty simple. It was, what's my priority here? What I can have, I can be efficient at my job, and I can accomplish the mission while having other priorities. And so that kind of, when all that kind of went down and started happening, the focus was family first, take care of my family, do what I think is going to make me happy and my family happy, and then still accomplish the mission. I'm not putting the Marine Corps in the back burner by no means. Mm-hmm. And I'm always going to accomplish the mission when the mission is at hand. But when that all went down, it makes you think about your priorities and whatnot.
Can you give like a really short so people know what you're talking about?
Yeah. So in 2011, when my son was 2, we had the Marine Corps ball was that day for our unit, and I was with 3-9. And then essentially what happened is we come down the stairs. Kelly's parents are there, and there's something wrong with Carter. He's kind of laying on the ground, not moving around too much. And long story short, they discovered a brain tumor on his cerebellum, and he was in. I'm already drawing a blank on the hospital there in Durham, whatnot. But
Duke?
No, the other one. And I should know this, but it's just.
That's all right. It's all right.
You put me on the spot here.
But, all right.
Go off topic.
36 days in the hospital. He's had 3 brain surgeries, and he's 11 years old now. He's still got some recovery stuff, but he's a machine. He's tougher than me and most Marines I know. So
that kind of did that give you like, I can do more than just be a Marine? It was like a force kind of eye opener, maybe.
I think for me, it was just like the shift of priorities.
Right.
Like what is the most important thing? Up to that point, 2011, I deployed like Fallujah, Ramadi, Marja. Like it was just all deployments. That's all I cared about, was deploying and being the best Marine I could be. And then that kind of shifts your focus to, okay, I can still be a great Marine, but focus on my family and realize that there is a family at home, and they should be the priority.
Yeah. And then Jeremy, you have 2. They're like just 2, right? Or now are they turning 3?
2.5.
They're 2.5. I'm like, sometimes time's a blur to me. They'll always probably be 2. You'll be like, Danielle, they're 16. They're not 2 anymore.
Yeah.
But how is that? So they're little. You got into you have your job, you have your 9 to 5 or whatever you want to call it. You're starting this business. It's taking off, and you have these babies. How does that all?
Well, the babies have been such a blessing, and it's been really challenging, only because once they were born, I had a natural fire under my butt to go ahead and get started and get cranking and get a brand, get my name, get everything going. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to school in the GI Bill, and I'm using the GI Bill to fund my business and brand my name and get my materials, get my tools, buy diapers, buy wipes, get stuff for the wife so she doesn't kill me. And they're born, and so as much as I want to be there and help my wife take care of 2 babies, I also have to go to work and build my business. And so it built a lot of tension in our relationship, because she's like, hey, who do you love more? Do you love your woodwork more, your flags more? Do you love your family more? So it was always a fine line between what I should do and what I could do, and who's going to be happiest. And so there is no happy time management skill in any of this. But it's definitely been a blessing, more so, especially now during this quarantine, because right now they have me going to work Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 or 9 a.m. if you want, to whatever, 12, 11. Just check on the buildings, get in, get out, check emails and roll. So I've been taking advantage of that time, not only catching up with my family and just getting some awesome quality time with them, but my wife's picking up more hours at work because she's a waitress. And so they're still open and running, just differently.
Good.
And so I'm right now she's at work, so nobody's there watching them. They're just watching Baby Shark over on Rewind. And but it's giving me time to go ahead and start being more creative with bottle openers and different gun cabinets and all sorts of other things right now to hopefully appease to somebody in the market. So I'm going a little bit everywhere. I'm kind of scattered, but it is exciting because I'm meeting different challenges that I never thought I'd face.
Yeah. I mean, what I hear between Jeff talking and you talking, there has to be those times, and we talked about this a little bit, Jeff, where you question, what the hell am I doing? Like, is this what I'm supposed to do? Is this the path? Because, man, it's hard. Fulfilling your desires, fulfilling your purpose in life, having a family, doing all of these different things, the balancing act creates a lot of questioning. So have you questioned yourself, or is that just me in life? Put that out there first. But what are some of the challenges, the mental challenges that you've come across, and then how do you deal with it?
Yeah, all the time. I mean, you get this mindset of like, this is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to do 20 years in the military. You're an enlisted guy, so you need to go be an operations manager somewhere because you're just a grunt. And then you need to go, and there's just purpose. And then especially now, since I got my master's degree, I kind of feel like, okay, I got this master's degree. Do I use this degree and go do what I'm supposed to do, or what life and society is telling me to do? Or do I try to write books and write and try to motivate people? And I mean, even as of recently as last week, I already hired and got my cover to my new book finalized. I've already hired a contractor to write the description page of the book. And even after I've paid and hired these contractors, I'm still like, maybe I just won't do it. Maybe I'll just finish out my career and go work down the road somewhere. It happens all the time.
What gives you that foot to be like, yeah, like I know, especially recently, I had Joyce. She was always, I have my husband and things like that, but I needed someone that wasn't my husband to talk to me, or my brother. And I would, so she would be the one that would kind of like slap me upside the face many a times and be like, you're off your rocker, girl. I mean, she would, be like that. Do you have someone like that? I mean, I needed that. Maybe you don't. That's what I needed to kind of keep my forging forward sometimes. I needed that extra turn.
There's a few people on social media that have reached out and tell me, this and that, like, keep doing this. You're doing great. Loving the stories. When's the next one coming out? And that kind of feels it. I mean, I go hard to the paint, man. Like, I've even deleted Facebook pages twice now. Like, I've built up pages. I'm like, you know what? I don't want to do this no more. I'm not going to be a famous author. Like, and I've deleted it. I've gone all out.
Yes. Man, you're hardcore. You're like, done.
Yeah. There's no messing around.
You know what? Okay, so I have two things. I got to hear. I want Jeremy's perspective of it. There's two things I always think. When you are just about to put it all away, throw everything away, and you're doubting yourself, God gives you a little sprinkle, a little gift, and it's like maybe someone reaching out or something happened. You're like, okay, right? You can receive that or ignore the gift and just forget about it. And I forget what the other second lesson is, so we'll just forget. We'll just go with that one because I went blank on the second one. Jeremy, what is your, like, I mean, you can visually see your stuff's like very cool. But I know you question yourself.
Yeah, I did. I remember I talked to you about that. It was barely 6-8 months ago that I went to a real estate seminar and got, sold and convinced that I was supposed to be in real estate, and that's where the money's at. That's where the market's going. And, so I really questioned my ability and basically told myself, if I can put my energy that I'm taking right now and take it off of flags and put it into real estate, I know I'll be successful. But that program, it was a $20K buy-in for one. So there's nothing free.
Yeah.
So I had to basically drain my savings or take out another loan to get into that program. And that in itself was already kind of a red flag, but nothing good is free all the time. So I kind of put that off to the side, and I was in a real hole between trying to do something in real estate and doing the flag stuff. And I just didn't know what I wanted at that point. I was just at a blank. And so I started to basically sit down and kind of meditate and question who I was and why I'm here. And I guess you could say, I felt something was missing. And it felt like that need to work with my hands and build something again was starting to itch at me, more so than trying to get into the real estate thing and sacrifice so much money that I could use for my family to get into a program that has no guarantee.
Yeah.
And so I wouldn't be able to really put my creativity to work in the real estate business as much as I would probably like what I do now. So, like Jeff says, there's times where you just want to just stop and quit and just forget it. Maybe this isn't what it's supposed to be. You do status quo. I was on my way to get my business degree, and I could just, get my degree and tell me, do what society says, get a job and retire. I mean, right now I'm still a federal employee and I could retire in about 7 years. And granted, that's where I'm going. That's not exactly the goal per se. Is right now I'm trying to blow this flag thing up and still get paid to take care of all my bills in the meantime.
Yeah.
And fund my business. So I'm using my work to fund my business, take care of my family, and then circle back.
Right. Jeff, you mentioned like about your writing is to help, maybe to heal, to teach. I mean, do you feel like what you're doing is possibly a blueprint, not just your books and the stories, but how you're doing it? Are people watching that? Like, do you think you're guiding through your life, or is your idea just to like, through your creativity, through your writing, creative writing? That's what I was trying to.
I mean, I would like to think so. I would like to. A lot of my old friends and stuff reach out and like, how do I do this, or how do I publish this, or how do I begin writing this? And I don't want to start spouting off like unfactual data about helping with mental emotions and whatnot. But just telling a story, sharing a story is just.
Well, you have data. Just means one person telling you something is data to me.
Yeah, absolutely. And the dream would be to start a publishing company down the road to help these young warriors and people who don't know how to get to that point to just tell their story. It's not a get rich quick scheme. Like, I'm not out here trying to become James Patterson. I just want to share stories. I just like stories. And I would like to think there's some sort of blueprint to it to where I could take what I've learned and help others achieve whatever they want to achieve. But, it's also at the same time, it's still hard to do. I'm envious of people like Jeremy, like I would love to be able to take my hands and like build stuff, but I mean, I can't even build a shelf. So it's hard. It's hard to put your story in something and get people to read it and understand it. And then, especially when you put the type of emotion and the type of effort into a story, and then you get that first 1-star review, and you're like, is this how I want to live my life? Like, the people don't really, but it is what it is,
It is. It's hard. Even it's hard to get that 1 star or someone be like a nasty comment or because it's your heart. Like I can imagine the same thing, Jeremy, if someone were to be like rah, 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 about yourself.
My dad's my worst critic. My dad is my worst critic. And he has I don't even want to get into that, but my dad doesn't have any creativity at all. He is a problem solver, a fix it if it's broken thing. So he only sees things black and white. He does not see any creativity. So anything I make, he challenges, well, that doesn't really look like an actual flag per se. And I'm like, well, you don't know what I was like, and the stuff that I make, a lot of it is per request. Hey, make it this way, make it that way. So it's all custom to the customer. And some of it is my way, but they'll basically drop it on me saying, this is the style, this is what I want. Use your artistic skills and do what you can to make it work. And so that's what I love about what I do, is because they give me the artistic freedom to go ahead and, make it look good.
Yeah.
So.
I appreciate all your work.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Joyce.
That's probably why I like it, because it's not like the cookie cutter kind of thing. And neither, they're all unique and individual.
Oh, it's right here. Your work is like right here.
Thank you.
Okay, so I have 2 questions because we're coming up and I'm going over, but I have 2 questions. Jeremy, do you ever, because there are a ton of flag companies out there, do you help, like, what is your, are you a dick to other, I'll just say it, are you a dick to other flag companies? Or are you supportive, or has anyone ever come up to you and be like, man, how are you doing what you do? And you help them, or are you like, no?
No, I love that question, because just recently, I would say probably within the last 6 to 8 months, that I've been on Instagram. It's all been for Instagram. I've barely been on Instagram for a year. Just reached 1,000 followers, not trying to brag or nothing, but it's a big deal. Anyways, but I have a lot of people send me messages. How do you cut your metal? Where do you get it? How do you do your stars? Where, how? And I tell them everything. What stain do you use? What are your measurements? I tell them the angles. I give everything, full disclosure. And of course, my family, my friends, what are you doing? You're giving your secrets out or whatever. I'm like, hey, let them try it. Let them try it, because some of these guys, they're not, they're just average woodworkers. And some of the guys, they're either, at my level, or they're below, or they're way higher, like Flags of Valor. Those guys, Cruise Customs, those guys are way up there. They're not hitting me up. But I definitely help other people, especially with their branding and their logos and stuff like that, where to go, their business cards even. I mean, I send them to every resource that I can, because a lot of them just want a leg up. And so who am I to be that dictator, like, no, I'm not going to tell you how to do it. So it feels really rewarding to help others make something. And they definitely are more grateful and appreciative, and they will share my stuff. And it just feels good that, and not only that, but they will ask permissions to use my templates, my style. They'll send me a message, hey, do you mind if we cut a flag your way? If not, we understand, but we just want to try something different. Like, yeah, go for it. It doesn't even look remotely like mine. So everybody has their own touch.
I love that, because you can't. It will never be you. You could tell someone exactly your blueprint of how you do everything, but it's never going to be Jeremy. It's never going to be Twisted Oak Flags. So I actually, thank you. Now I like you even more. That was a trick question.
That was a good question.
But
can I interject a quick question?
Yeah.
Okay. So Jeremy, coming from a person who for a year made a living picking up stuff off the side of the road and re-customizing it into something that you could sell, okay? Do you purchase all your resources, or do you find your resources?
I tried to do the whole, the palette thing, and I tried to.
Yes. Oh my God. I've done so much for palettes. Yes.
No, I mean, I just go to Lowe's and I order my metal, and I get everything I need, and this way everything's legitimate. I have all my numbers correct, and I can actually sell it on the part that it's not used or refurbished or repurposed or stuff like that. Some people sell on repurposing things, I don't. It's just the artistic creativity part of it. I use quality pieces too, and you can't find a lot of quality pieces on the side.
That's true.
Yeah,
Do people donate resources to you? Do people say, hey, we cleaned out this, my dad died, and we cleaned out his shop, and we have...
I haven't had that fortune yet. No, not yet.
Well, it's out there now.
I know.
So.
It would be nice. It would be nice. Not only if I had something like that, I would definitely make something for them just as a payment,
Yeah.
I love your work.
It's out there in the world, so it will happen. All right, Jeff, I have not finished your whole entire book, so full disclosure, but I started I got the book. I was like, God, see, this is how my mind works. I'm like, did I get an audiobook or did I read it? But I remember
No, that was the audiobook I sent you.
It could have been both. Who knows? How did you come up with that? Is there any truth to these stories? Give a little synopsis of what your book is about so people understand. But I was explaining it to Joyce before, and I'm like, he'll just have to tell you. I don't know how it ends. I don't want to know how it ends, but.
Yeah, so I've taken certain experiences and injected them in the book to kind of there needs to be lifelike when it comes to certain encountering an IED while riding in a truck. Of course I'm going to take those experiences and try to make that scene as real as possible. But the entire the whole walking off camp and joining a terrorist organization, I'm telling you that for years, I don't know why, but I would lay in my bed at night when I couldn't sleep and just think about what would happen if I joined a terrorist group? What would I do? And that led to that whole story and just kind of how would it play out? And then the two things that kind of shaped the whole book was, one, I love military authors. I love reading their stuff, but I just didn't want to do a nonfiction book. I wanted to make stuff up. That's all there is to it. There's stuff that I just wanted to make up. Whether people believe it or not, I just wanted to make some stuff up. So that's why I went that route.
Good.
And then I'm a huge fan of plot twists, of the unexpected happening and the person finishing the book and being like, wow, or finishing the movie or finishing a show, wow, did that just happen on The Walking Dead? Really? That's what I was shooting for. But yeah, people reach out, I literally have had people that I've known and deployed with for years ask me, did you really join a terrorist organization?
Yeah.
No, bro. I did not join the Army of Islam. I'm sorry. Didn't happen, And I so when I got my bachelor's, I got my BA in terrorism studies, and that's what I wrote my final thesis on, was the Army of Islam. So of course that just kind of took precedence in the book as well.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it sounds real. It sounds real just you talking about it. So
Jeremy, you got it. I'm gonna send it to you.
Yeah.
I'll send it to you. It's you're gonna read it and you're gonna be like, I at first I was like, I don't know if I can keep reading this. Is this real? And the only reason I did, I was like, Andrew would not promote somebody who joined a terrorist group.
And you would have.
No, he would not. He would not.
So I'm gonna send you that book, Jeremy, and you'll be like,
I can't wait until you finish it, because I've had people walk through the door, crying in tears, mad at me because of how, seriously mad at me for how it ended, and nope, we're not even friends no more. Don't.
Oh,
so you need to hold up your book like I'm holding up Danny's. You need to hold
do you
up
have
your
a
book.
copy of your book right
I wish I did. The last one was gone. I got rid of it last week, and I haven't got the next shipment in. So I thought about it an hour ago, and I thought, man, can I make the drive to go get one?
No.
And I don't have mine.
Is it a digital book?
Well, I don't have my actual physical copy because we're moving and everything's packed up.
Yeah. No, I understand.
So I got nothing. To show.
Plug him right now.
I'll put the link in, and I'm sending Jeremy a copy just as a gift.
I didn't do good planning. It's my fault.
Oh my God, you guys, thank you so much for joining. We went over, but it was well worth it. The conversation was so good. I hope everybody out there, you guys got some valuable tips. And if you didn't notice, because we didn't get to go in it, did you notice how Jeremy said he used his GI Bill? So,
Yes.
so he's got some knowledge, and I suggest he does not have a lot of time, but if you ask him 1 or 2 questions, I'm sure he'll answer about that. Or maybe we'll have a part 2 after I finish the book, and we can go in and I finally get my flag. Although my husband said we can't have a flag, Danielle, because we're moving and we're actually living in a trailer, like a RV. We bought an RV.
Yeah.
And we're living in an RV.
And where are you parking?
Tiny home for a year.
And where are you parking? On his dad's property?
Yep. Totally rednecking for a year while our house is being built.
You need to sit down and write your website right now about that. Yeah.
Do you know why I don't have a small one? Is because when I asked you for one, you didn't have the equipment to do it then. But that was a while ago.
That was a while ago. Things have changed.
Things have changed. All right. So I'm going to get my small one because I still need it for when I travel again. Okay. We're getting totally off topic. Nobody cares about my personal life and what we're going to do for dinner or whatever. So thank you guys for joining today. Everybody, get Jeff's book because now you know the plot. Now Jerry can make small ones. It doesn't matter. I'm going to have one in my tiny little RV trailer traveling the country, and then my big one in my home. So it works in all sizes. But everybody, thank you for watching. And until next time, I hope you join our table.
Thank you.
Join our table. Join our table.
Hold on. If you could see me, wait 1 sec.
Now I see a screensaver.